This is something I've said was going to happen for a long time. We've talked about drones. We've talked about the possibility of drone warfare, I guess you would call it. We've talked about how easy it is to attach an explosive device to a drone. There's an FBI plot that was foiled. I'm sorry, the FBI foiled a plot. It was not the FBI's plot. The FBI foiled a plot to fly drones laced with explosives over the White House and attack the UFC 250 event. This was one of those things, I don't know if I said it on here, but when I spoke with friends and family and they were like, hey, what do you think about this? I was like, well, I think this is a huge possibility for a drone attack. This is a huge possible target for a drone attack. Like, if I were a terrorist looking for a headline, right? Because terrorism isn't about body counts, it's about headlines. We know this. Terrorism, it's not about, oh, I killed so many people. It's about, look at how I killed somebody. Terrorism is about getting in your head. It's about making you scared. Okay, people don't do terrorism because they want, like for example, how many years did 9/11 fuck up flying? It's 2001. It's 2026, and we still have extensive security measures that have never been ruled back 25 years later. That's what terrorism does. If somebody had just gone out and shot 300 people, it would be horrible for a day and it would be over. An attack on the White House is something that we would never forget. An attack on the White House is something, as Americans, look, we still talk about the time, I think it was during the War of 1812, the Canadians and the English burned down the White House. We still talk about that to this day. And it's 2026. It's 114 years later, and we still talk about it. This was an attempt at a terror attack. Luckily, it was thwarted by the FBI. We'll play a clip here from Tim Pool. This is where I heard of it. And honestly, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this terrorism crap because I just wanted to talk about how cool dirt bikes are and how they're great for performance on and off road. And I just wanted to talk about that. But instead, we get to talk about terrorism.
The FBI says they foiled a terror plot targeting the White House UFC event. They said individuals were planning to use bomb-laden drones to strike buildings and high-profile individuals, billionaires, politicians, etc. Then, when the civilians began to flee, they intended to use snipers or sniper teams to start taking out civilians.
Okay, so there you have it. That's about the gist of it. That's about all there is to it. Is they planned on striking the UFC event with an explosive drone, and then as everybody ran away, their plan was fish in a barrel. I mean, I'm sure they had figured out choke points. They had snipers up in said choke points, and these snipers were ready to take people out left and right. That's honestly a pretty solid plan. Now, I don't know who these people are. You probably don't know who these people are. Probably doesn't really matter who these people are, but it leads you to a point where you have to start to think. There's two groups of people in this country that really hate the right. The radical Islam, the radical Muslims, and the radical left. We've allowed for years radical Muslims to come into this country. They've assembled neighborhoods into hotbeds of Islamic activity to the point where Michigan has Muslim writing on their police logo on their uniforms. We've allowed it's kind of like how a lot of cities have Chinatown or business district, and now there's Islam town. We've allowed this to go on for a long time, and then on top of that, we've allowed the left to act essentially with impunity for a long time. We've allowed a lot of terrorism from the 529 insurrection, where leftists firebombed St. John's Church and the White House grounds. Trump was ushered into a bunker for his safety, to the attack on the, I think it was a White House gala or something like that, most recently, and everything in between, from the the assassination attempt in Butler, PA, to the killing of Charlie Kirk. We've allowed it. We just keep allowing it. We're not going on the offensive as the right. We're sitting here, oh, well, if it happens, we'll have more ambulances. If it happens, we'll have more people around. If it happens, I watched Steven Crowder do a live event, and he literally had a Suburban right behind him, so that if shit went down, he could just jump in the Suburban. Like, the only way you could have got to him was with a fucking sniper rifle, and they had bulletproof glass between him and any vantage points. I mean, he was essentially in a bubble. It's the only way you can do these events now. And it's infuriating. It's infuriating because I used to love Change My Mind. Change My Mind was one of my favorite segments. But Crowder can't do Change My Mind anymore, because the likelihood that Crowder will get fucking murdered is insanely high. Ben Shapiro, who I've grown out of taste of, I'm not a big fan of Ben Shapiro anymore. However, when Ben Shapiro was that little Jew up on stage burning people left and right, okay, facts don't care about your feelings, gang. Okay, I don't care. I don't care what you have to say. Facts don't care about your feelings. That guy was great. I loved that guy. Now he's a fucking Israel shill, and I don't fucking believe he has genuine intentions on anything other than Israel. I think that's all he cares about. I can't stand to watch him because he's become one of those fucking everything is Israel, and he's kind of got hit with the Trump derangement syndrome a little bit. To be fair, he was never a Trump guy. But I digress. Seeing Ben Shapiro up on stage at those college campus events was awesome. It was like, cool, this dude's out here, telling these kids, like, hey, don't buy this shit. These people are lying to you. And then he's challenging people on it and standing on his beliefs. And I'm like, that's rad. That's awesome. We need more of that. Now we're sitting here. Can't do that. Can't do live events anymore because fucking Charlie got fucking schlacked fucking right in the throat. And I really can't stand the people that are like, oh, it was such an expert shot. That was a miss. Okay? It was a fucking miss. Dude missed. Dude was aiming for the forehead. Dude missed. Okay? I'm so tired of everyone acting like, oh, he's such a good shooter. No, he's not. Dude was garbage. Dude pulled the shot bad. Okay? And a right-handed shooter, anticipating the recoil, is going to tense up and drop that barrel down into the right on a rifle, because you're going to tense this hand. And if you tense it, you're going to pull it down into the right. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. See, I have anticipation problems with pistols, not with rifle. I shoot rifle fine all day. I'm not saying, though, at 200 yards, I think it was a 6X scope, I'm not saying that I'd have made a better shot. I don't shoot distance very often. However, my point is, we can't even have conversations, because the last time someone tried to do that, they got shot in the neck. We're at a point where we allow the leftist terrorism to go and go and go and go, and we don't do anything to stop it. We don't sell it as left-wing terrorism. And it drives me insane. It drives me absolutely fucking nuts that we don't do anything about it. We sit here and we just allow terrorism. Do you really think these were conservatives that wanted to fly a drone armed with a bomb over 250? Do you really think that's what it was? No, obviously it wasn't. Why would it be? Why would it be right-wingers that want to go blow up right-wingers, right? It doesn't make sense. Obviously, it was either left-wingers or it was radical Islam. It was one or the other. It was left-wing or radical Islam. And we allow both to exist without doing anything about it. Now, as a First Amendment absolutist, I struggle with Islam. Because in my heart, I want Islam as far away from this country as possible. But we do have that constitutional right that says You have the right to practice any religion you want. I think at a certain point, though, Islam becomes a national security threat. I really do. And it's a conundrum because what do? It's a national security threat, so do you get rid of it and shit on the First Amendment, or do you let it stay and risk the national security? It's a tough call. It's not my call to make. I'm glad it's not my call to make because I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do. We allow these things to go on. We don't go after the left wingers. We know who they are. We know who a lot of them are. We don't go after them. We don't try to stop them. We don't try to prosecute them. We wait until they do something and then we go after them. It's like, well, that's all fine and dandy, but like he already killed somebody. Like, what's the point? Like, we could have stopped him from killing someone if we'd have done something, but instead we did nothing. Like how my little chin patch here grows on this side, but not on this side, because I got drunk one time and singed it all off over here. Now it doesn't grow in right. I gotta fix that. I don't know. I don't know what we do, but we have to come up with something. The problem is people on the right, Donald Trump specifically, is more worried about what Fox News has to say about him than if people die. When people say, oh, Trump faked Butler. No, he didn't. Trump cares more about what Fox News thinks, though, than what you and I think when it comes to Butler. Trump doesn't give a shit about what you and I think. Trump cares about what Fox News has to say. Trump doesn't care about your opinion or my opinion. Trump cares about Fox News' opinion. Trump cares about what CNN has to say about it. Okay, Trump doesn't care about you and me. Trump doesn't care if we vote because Trump can't win again. Trump did the thing. Trump won already. I won twice. That's all there is to do. There's no more winning to do. I can't win anymore. I've already won it all. I don't care what your opinion is. It's literally like if the world champion fucking kickboxer gets on stage and he's like, I've beat everyone. There's no one left to fight, and I've won. I don't care what you think of me. I'm the champion. Like it or not, nobody has been able to stop me. You know, it's infuriating because you can't convince me that the president of the United States doesn't know that we have terror cells. And these terror cells are populated with both leftists and Muslims. Don't kid yourself. Don't think it's just, oh, we have leftist terror cells and we have Muslim terror cells. They coexist. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? If we, as a nation, would go into another country and we would send our Green Berets to train rebel forces, and we would use locals, do you think that some of those locals were Muslims maybe? Of course they were. We were in Muslim countries. Do you think some of the operators were Christians? Of course they were. They came from America, a Christian nation. Is it unreasonable to believe that Muslims and Christians would stand shoulder to shoulder and fight for the same goal? No, because that was their job. So why is it so unfathomable to think that these Muslims come here, they set up their terror cells, and then they indoctrinate leftists into their terror cells? Takes the eyes off the Muslim communities. Nobody's thinking, oh, the Muslim guy did it. They're all thinking it was some white kid from the Bronx. Who cares? And every time they're like, oh, well, it was some white kid. It was some white kid. It's always some white kid. You notice that? It's always some white kid. Or it's a Muslim guy. Why? Because white kids are most likely to be fucking lefties, I guess. It's always some white kid from money. Anyway, I digress. We knew this was going to happen. If there would have been a terror attack, we have no one to blame but ourselves. We're the only ones that could have stopped this. We knew it's a possibility. Tim Pool was talking about in that video. I'm just not playing the whole 20 minutes. He's talking about how 10, 11 years ago, he was talking with the government about the dangers and possibilities of how these drones could be used 10 or 11 years ago. They've only gotten better since then. If you think that 10 or 11 years ago they could have strapped a 2-pound bomb to them and blown something up, what do you think they could do now? And at the bare minimum, they can do some serious damage. At the bare minimum, it's serious property damage. Maybe a couple people get hit with some shrapnel. You might not have any deaths, but you'll have a few casualties. You'll have some people injured. At the bare minimum, at that's best case scenario if something like this does go down. Is it's just a couple people got hurt. Worst case scenario is they could strap a dirty bomb to something like this and they could kill everybody there. They could wipe out a huge chunk of the people attending the White House grounds. I mean, it's terrifying, the world we live in. It's a beautiful thing. It's great that people have Alexas in their homes and they can say, "Hey Alexa, call grandma." Cool. It's not cool when that technology gets used for terrorism, which is what it gets used for most of the time. Let's be honest. I mean, the biggest stories of Alexa usage are, oh, cops arrested someone because Alexa overheard them talking about crimes that they committed, and then they used that as evidence to convict. That's why I don't have Alexas. That's why I'll never have Alexas. Now I do know my phone has the Google thing, but I've got that disabled. Not that it matters. The phone still spies on everything you say. If you ever want to have a truly private conversation, good luck. Good fucking luck, because that thing's listening all the time. Your phone, your Alexa, your fucking whatever. I use Alexa as a vagary for all the talk to AI bot things. Every time you talk to Grok, that gets documented, I'm sure. Every time you talk to ChatGPT, that gets documented. They're building a file on you, I'm sure. It's just insane. The amount the technology has grown in 10 years, and we're still talking about, well, we got these drones that could carry a bomb. Yeah, and now they can be piloted by AI. Now they can be fucking programmed to fly themselves places using GPS. It's insane what they can do with these. You could literally launch this drone. Tim Pool was explaining. You can launch this drone that's programmed with AI, or it's programmed with GPS coordinates, and it can fly to a destination. And once it gets to a destination, it can either be remotely detonated or you could manually detonate it with just a button. You just use a button. Or it would be set up so that you could, if you know how to code, you could set it so that once it arrives, it transmits a signal, and that signal is what sets off the detonator. I don't know how to do that. I am sure there's someone out there that does. Anyway, that's about all I have to say. It is terrifying, the world we live in. It really is. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all in the next one. There might be another one later on. I want to talk about this weird encounter that I saw. But anyway,